Okay, girls, can you tell me a little bit about what you've done with GIS so far?
Well, the first task we were set a PowerPoint where it was along the lines of describing the distribution of volcanoes. So we just had to look across the map of the world and just say about linear patterns and where we found those, and we got layers to add on just to find out more about the volcanoes.
And then the second task we were set was along the same lines, but we had to investigate earthquakes worldwide, so we could go in and look at different magnitudes and answer different questions on them.
At first look, it was really nerving and I got very worried about doing the task at home, but actually getting into it, it was really helpful finding the layers for the different continents and the oceans, because I'm really bad at remembering those. It just really helped me.
So I found it interesting, definitely being able to turn on different layers of stuff you're interested in, just to find out more, which made the task a lot easier as well.
You got a much deeper look into everything. Like, for example, the volcanoes, you really got to look at the ash flow and the pyroclastic flow, and you could really see the magnitude of the earthquakes and how far everything went, and actually the kind of aftermath as well. You could really look into, which was really interesting.
And the GIS also had different tools where you could measure distances and magnitudes, as Chloe said, which just made the overall task a lot easier to understand as well.
So Cohen, one of the things that I like to try to do with the GIS tasks is to give you what I would call a starting point for learning, but then to give you ownership and control of the learning, so that anything that strikes you as interesting or curious, you can go and investigate it yourself. You did really well with the task that we were doing and looking at earthquakes. So tell me a little bit about your experience of going beyond the task and investigating the map.
Well, when I was writing my conclusion at the end of the task, I just kept asking myself, why do I think this? And I knew that the map had enough information on there for me to be able to figure out. So I went and I looked through all the things you had set up. I looked through filters, I looked through different options that I could view in the map, and I went through all the bookmarks of locations. And I was able to determine that in Alaska, the area hit by the earthquake, it was quite prone to earthquakes before, so I made sure to include that in my answer, drawing numbers and distances from previous earthquakes to be able to back up my points. I thought it was much more easier and much more interesting to be able to complete the work to a higher standard, because not only do you get to go and figure it out for yourself, but whenever everyone's using the same 2D map, you end up getting nearly the same answers as everyone in the class. If you're able to go and make your answer unique, you're able to go like, what can I include that's different and how can I include this?
I would definitely recommend it, so I would it makes it a lot more interesting as a homework. It doesn't even feel like homework whenever you're doing it, because it's so interesting, and if something comes in your head that you're more interested about, obviously once you finish the homework you can go in and search, and from what we've learned from doing the homeworks with GIS, we've learned how to turn on the different layers and use the different tools, so I'd definitely be using it again, even not for homework, just.
Yeah, no, I would say the same. I think it's really interesting to actually see how much more information you can get online, and instead of like a paper map, and while the world's advancing as well, I think it's really good to keep advancing with it, so I think it's really good.
Yes, I definitely would. I think it's a massive step up from the current map and paper that most people find themselves in a situation and trying to complete homework with.
Thank you very much indeed.
I am the most informal person I've ever met.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Yeah, anything you say sounds like proper.